The bones of kings are never quiet. They carry the weight of forgotten screams, of promises etched in blood and sacrifice so profound it transforms flesh into legend. Before Leonidas became the man who would define resistance, he was a child born into a world where survival was a daily negotiation with death. Sparta was not a civilization. It was a machine that consumed human potential, grinding soft flesh into tempered steel. Here, childhood was not a time of innocence, but a brutal apprenticeship in survival. From the moment a Spartan male drew breath, he was measured, not by the gentleness of his heart, but by the hardness of his resolve and the potential of his destruction. The agorge, Sparta's legendary training system, was less an education and more a systematic dismemberment of everything human. Young boys were systematically stripped away, layer by layer, until nothing remained but bone, muscle, and an unyielding will. Weakness was not just discouraged, it was a death sentence whispered in the cold mountain winds. Leonidas emerged from this crucible not as a man, but as a living weapon. His body was a map of scars, each telling a story of endurance that would make most civilizations tremble. The Spartan philosophy was simple and terrifying: transform vulnerability into strength or be forgotten. When Persian messengers arrived, demanding submission, Leonidas stood as something more than a king. He was a living embodiment of a civilization that had transformed human limitation into its greatest weapon. "Malon Lab," he responded, "come and take them." Those 3 words were not just a challenge. They were an entire philosophy carved into language. The decision to stand at Thermopylae was not heroic. It was mathematical, psychological, a precise calculation of human potential against imperial ambition. The narrow mountain pass would become a throat through which empires would choke, a geographical nightmare that would transform numerical superiority into a fatal weakness. His wife Gorgo understood this before most. She was no mere royal decoration, but a strategic mind as sharp as any Spartan blade. Her eyes held the same cold calculation that defined Spartan warfare, an understanding that some principles transcend individual survival. The night before the battle was not filled with fear, but with a strange, cold clarity. These were not just soldiers, but brothers forged in a lifetime of shared suffering. They did not speak of survival. They spoke of honor, of Sparta, of the thin line between myth and mortality that they were about to walk. Xerxes represented more than a human enemy. He was a walking manifestation of imperial hunger, a force that consumed nations and turned civilizations into footnotes of his grand ambition. Where other Greek city-states saw potential for negotiation, Leonidas saw only one path: absolute, uncompromising resistance. When betrayal came, in the form of Ephialtes revealing the mountain path that would allow the Persians to outflank them, there was no panic, just a profound, almost serene understanding that this was the moment they had prepared for their entire lives. The battle itself transcended mere military engagement. It was a liturgy of human resolve, a performance of defiance so profound it would echo through centuries. Wave after wave of Persian soldiers crashed against their formation like ocean against stone. Despite this, they held, not out of blind courage, but cold, calculated determination. As Persian arrows began to block out the sun, Leonidas understood they were transforming from human beings into something else, a concept, a symbol, a flame of resistance that could not be extinguished by any army, any force of man or nature. His final moments were not consumed by fear, but by a strange, transcendent clarity. They were buying time, not just for Greece, but for a civilization, for an idea of human dignity that would outlast empires. Each fallen Spartan was a seed planted in the mythology of human resistance. When the last Spartan fell, they had already won, not on the battlefield, but in the narrative of human potential. Xerxes might conquer territories, but he could not conquer the human spirit they represented. Leonidas was more than a king. He was a philosophical instrument, a living weapon designed to transform personal limitation into collective strength. His story is not about glorifying war, but about understanding the extraordinary capacity of human beings to stand firm in the face of overwhelming opposition. In an age of moral compromises and shifting allegiances, Leonidas remains a stark reminder that some principles are worth more than survival. That true resistance is not about winning, but about refusing to be broken. The mountains of Thermopylae still stand. The wind still carries the echoes of that final defiant stand. And in the darkness between history and myth, Leonidas continues to whisper a truth more terrifying than any army. We do not die. We become the nightmare that future conquerors fear. Let us know if you enjoyed this video. Also, let us know in the comments what historical figures you'd like us to profile next. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more videos like these.